Problem 4 on the page 68. Write all the steps for construction of the following figure and construct it according to real measures below. LO equals 6 centimeters, OY equals 2 centimeters. فإذا بنلاحظ عندي هيدا الفيجر ومطلوب إنه اكتب كل steps اللي بتخليني أرسم هيدا الفيجر وبعدين بدي ارسمه in real dimensions، يعني بدي ارسم LO 6 cm OY 2 cm. فإذا إذا بنلاحظ هيدا الشكل on we have a rectangle. This rectangle is LOYB. عندي ال LO is 6 centimeters and we have OY is 2 centimeters. فإذا أول step راح نرسم rectangle LOYB. Length of LO is 6 centimeters and OY of 2 centimeters. فإذا draw rectangle LOYB. Length is 6 centimeters والwidth is 2 centimeters. بعدين إذا بنلاحظ عندي this line D، هون في عندي 2 dashes and 2 dashes. And it's perpendicular, so it's the perpendicular bisector of LO. So draw line D, the perpendicular bisector of LO. كمان رح يطلع عندي at the same time it's the perpendicular bisector of BY. And then إذا بنلاحظ the other line D prime. D prime is perpendicular to LB. And also it's the perpendicular bisector of LB, and at the same time it's the perpendicular bisector of OY. So كمان رح نرجع نرسم D prime, the perpendicular bisector of LB and OY at the same time. And then بنلاحظ هون في عندي semicircle. Its diameter is LB and it's outside the rectangle, exterior to the rectangle. So هيدول هن steps اللي رح نرسم فيها this rectangle. So first of all draw a rectangle LOYB. The length is 6 centimeters, the width is 2 centimeters. And then draw D, the perpendicular bisector of LO. So it's the perpendicular bisector of LO, and we obtain D is the perpendicular bisector of BY. And then draw the D prime, the perpendicular bisector of LB. So it's the perpendicular bisector of LB, and we obtain that it's the perpendicular bisector of OY at the same time. And then رح نرسم a semicircle that has LB as a diameter and it is exterior to the rectangle. The other question is which line, D or D prime, is the axis of symmetry of this figure. So يعني axis of symmetry إذا نحن بدنا نطابق this figure على line D، هل رح يتطابق الشكلين مع بعضهم؟ أكيد لا. هون بنلاحظ في عندي semicircle، هون ما في عندي semicircle، so ما رح يتطابقوا، معناتها D is not the axis of symmetry. بينما D prime إذا بنلاحظ إذا بنطبق the upper side على lower side راح يتطابقوا مع بعضهم. So D prime is the axis of symmetry of this figure. So D prime is the axis of symmetry of this figure. Steps of construction: construct the rectangle LOYB such that LO 6 centimeters and OY 2 centimeters. Draw line D, the perpendicular bisector of LO. We obtain that D also is the perpendicular bisector of BY. And then draw the line D prime, the perpendicular bisector of LB, and we obtain D prime as the perpendicular bisector of OY. And finally, draw a semicircle of diameter LB exterior to the rectangle LOYB. So these are the steps of construction.